Hello fellow makeup lovers, how are you guys doing today? So I am pretty excited for this video because I'm going to be reviewing all of the Certifeye 18 pan eyeshadow palettes, which just look like this. I have been digging into these so much the past month so that I could give you guys a really good thorough review, and I'm so excited to share my thoughts with y'all today. So in this video I am going to go ahead and quickly give a rundown of Certifeye, going to talk about shipping and all the like boring information, pricing, where you can get the palettes, and then I'm going to go through and talk about each palette individually, kind of give the rundown, what I love, what I don't, my favorites, which palettes I would recommend, and then towards the end I am going to go ahead and do comparison swatches between all the palettes. I feel like the most common complaint I see about Certifeye is people say that they have a lot of repeating shades, so it was really like I made it a priority to go through and swatch every single color story. So I'm going to go through and do all the blues and all the reds and all the greens of all the palettes next to each other so that you can see if there are truly repeat shades or not. So let's just go ahead and dive right in. So Certifeye is a UK-based indie brand, and they are available on their own website as well as Beauty Bay now, which is exciting. I have personally only purchased through Certifeye's website to purchase Certifeye products, and normally shipping to me takes about 2 to 3 weeks. I live in the US, and it normally is like $6 to $8, I would say. It does cost a little bit more if you want to tracking. And if you want to speed it up, you can go through and just add your own address and see what it'll be. Beauty Bay has free shipping over $50, I believe, and $5 shipping underneath that. So definitely worth checking out. If I was to purchase any of the palettes again, I would probably go through Beauty Bay, because if you do get Beauty Bay's free shipping, it's normally a little bit faster. So I will have both websites linked down below so you can check. And as of right now, all of the palettes that I'm talking about are on the Beauty Bay website, except for the Affinity II, which actually is on Beauty Bay, but it has been stating out of stock. It has not come into stock yet, so I'm assuming that they will get it soon. Either way, I'll have them all linked down below. So if you do shop through Certifeye, you can use an affiliate code. I personally am not affiliated with Certifeye. I have no connection with them at all. I purchase all the palettes myself, but I normally use Angelica's discount code, so I will leave that down below in case you want to make a purchase through there, or you can use Beauty Bay. If I link Beauty Bay, I do use affiliate links, and if you decide to purchase through those, I do appreciate it. So just to add really quickly, all of the palettes from Certifeye are cruelty-free and vegan as well, which is pretty awesome. There's a lot of red options here. I know a lot of times vegans have a hard time finding really good reds because of carmine, I believe it is. I am not vegan personally, but I'm pretty sure that's what I remember the problem being. And all of these palettes are listed as vegan, and they all have 0.9 ounces of product. Alright, so starting off with the Tropical Wonders palette, this is £30 on the Certifeye website or $42 on Beauty Bay. So here's what it looks like. It has like a nice, really beautiful lion with like roses around it. I think that would actually be a super cute tattoo. It just has the same picture on the front and the back, and on the inside there's a really beautiful elephant. So this is what the inside of the palette looks like, and this is an all matte rainbow palette pretty much. I actually really have come to love this. I feel like it's really easy to work with, very blendable and buildable pigmentation. I think the shadows get super bright, and overall I really like the color scheme here. It is just a rainbow palette, but it has become one of my favorite rainbow palettes as far as matte options go. I feel like everything is just super easy to work with. I will say overall for all of the palettes, I feel like with Certifeye, if you want to do a super bold, crazy, intense look, I would say to kind of go from the deepest shade to the lightest shade. I feel like that's kind of foolproof with their formula. But if you go from the lightest shade to the deepest shade, I definitely build it up some and I kind of layer, but I feel like it's super easy to work with, and overall I love it. And I feel like the more you dig into it, the easier it is to work with. I don't even know how to describe it, but I really do love this palette. I think all the shadows are super creamy, soft to the touch, pigmented, and super bright, and I think this is going to be my go-to rainbow palette from now on. I also do want to mention really quickly that I did film 2 looks with every single palette that I'm talking about today. I believe the Affinity one is already up on my channel, and you can check that out now if you want to, but I will have the other palettes coming up over the course of June because I am pre-filming, so I've been doing a lot of looks with these, and you'll get to see them all in action. Right now I'm wearing the Destiny palette. Next is the Affinity palette, which just looks like this. This retails for £32 on Certifeye's website or $44 on Beauty Bay, and this is white with gold glitter packaging. It says, "As with any journey, who you travel with can be more important than your destination." That is so cute. I've never read that before. Wow. I am not very observant apparently, but this has a really beautiful like gold glitter background, which I kind of enjoy. It's a little harder to read the names, but I feel like you can't tell how messy the palette is quite as much with the glitter background. So this is a really beautiful color story. Just a little heart there on the inside in case you were curious. But this is another all matte palette, and this is one of my favorite palettes just because I feel like the color story is so beautiful. You've got so many warm shades and then these like purpley pinky shades, and I think it just goes together really, really well, and I love playing with this palette. Overall, I feel the same about this palette. I feel like it's very blendable, easy to build up, very just overall pigmented. The only thing I would say that I don't really love about this palette is I wish that there was like a truly, I wish my camera would focus on me, there's a truly deep purple, because I feel like these deeper purples don't quite have as much depth because they have a lot of brightness to them. So I wish there was like a super deep plummy, eggplanty, some type of really deep purple in here to pull the looks together, because I feel like whenever I do a purple look, it always ends up being a little bit more bright and I can't really bring it down and like add more depth to it as much as I would want to using just this palette. Of course, I could go into any other palette. I could go ahead and add a black or something to make it a little bit deeper, but just using this palette alone, I wish that there had been maybe just one more super deep purple. But overall, I really like this palette. Okay, so next is the Affinity II, and this is their most recent palette. It retails for £32 on the Certifeye website, and it is listed as $44 on Beauty Bay, even though, like I said, it's not in stock yet. So this one says, "Dream without fear, love without limits." I kind of love the little inspirational quotes on here, and this is a white with a silver glitter background. So I think again that the glitter is super beautiful, although you can't really see it very well on camera. It kind of makes my camera like not want to focus on it as much, but I absolutely love this color story so much. It's definitely my favorite palette of the bunch. I love the blues and the greens, and I'm so inspired by this. I love the different shimmery shades that are in this palette. I feel like they definitely kind of went out of the box for them, like the different glittery topper duochrome shades. This blue metallic is really beautiful. This one is beautiful. This one is a little bit more of a sheer, like not sheer, it's more of like a sheeny shimmery shade rather than metallic, but it's still such a beautiful shade. So I really like the shimmers that they included in here. I think that overall it's really beautiful. I will say I feel like this kind of interesting green and this one a little bit, mostly this green, you have to build up quite a bit to get it to show. It's not as creamy as some of the other shades. It's a little bit more like hard to the touch, as well as this blue right here. It does build up, but it's again not quite as creamy as some of the other shades. But overall, I really love this. I have no problem blending with it. I feel like it is so beautiful and such a nice color story. I feel like this is probably one of the palettes I would recommend the most, just because I feel like their price tag is kind of more high end. So, I mean, I like their formula, I like their palettes overall, but I feel like if you're gonna pay that price, you want to have something that inspires you, and it's just something that's really unique. And I feel like there's a lot of blue-green palettes on the market coming now, but I just really like the mix in here. And there's also like this really fun purple, which I feel like adds just something a little extra. So overall, I really like this palette. Next is the Dynasty palette, and this retails for £30 on the Certifeye website and $40 on Beauty Bay. So this just has like a really beautiful like little castle on it. It feels very enchanting. And then here is what the inside looks like. So I actually really have come to love this color story as well. This is one of their older palettes, and I had this palette for quite a bit without really using it much until now, but I've actually kind of fallen in love. I do really enjoy the shimmers that they included in this palette. I feel like they're pretty metallic and overall really beautiful, especially like this green, this light blue, this pink, and this orange. I really enjoy. I feel like this looks like a copper, but when you put it on the eye, it actually ends up being like a true orange, and it kind of just brings a little something different. I just really love how they organize these in like the rows of like the 3 shades. I feel like that's super interesting and different, and I just like it. I feel like if you like color and you're like a simple person and you're like not trying to like come up with these crazy advanced color schemes, you might end up liking this. Or if you really like doing monochromatic looks, you also might be drawn to this. So overall, I like this a lot. I feel like this palette does end up being pretty unique just because of the way it's laid out and the different like small color stories, while still not being quite a rainbow palette. So overall, I really do like this one. I feel like the formula is really good. The mattes are super creamy, easy to blend. Again, no problems working with this palette whatsoever. Alright, last but not least is the Destiny palette, which is the only one that has a black packaging, and it says sometimes you have to fall before you fly, which is cute. So this one retails for 30 pounds on the Certifeye website or $40 on Beauty Bay, and I'll show you guys the color scheme. I do think that this looks really beautiful. It's a pretty color scheme. But this is the palette that definitely disappointed me the most. Last time I checked on Beauty Bay, it's actually on sale right now, and I can completely understand why it's on sale. I feel like it just is not the same standard as the rest of their other palettes. I personally wouldn't recommend this one. I do really like the shimmers in here. Like, I really, really love this light pink. I use this one a lot, and I reach for that one a lot because I think it's just super beautiful. There's like a light gold, a light silver, so I do like that they kind of add like some highlight shades in here as far as the shimmers go, and I do think those are nice. But I feel like of all the palettes, the mattes in this one are just not very... they're just not the same formula. They're a lot more hard to the pan, a little bit like harder to pick up. Like, I feel like with the other palettes, I just have to dip with like a little blending brush. Where's the blending brush to show what the point that I'm trying to make? I feel like with the other palettes, like, I just have to dip and then I can pick up a ton of product and I'll be fine and I'll like tap off the excess and go on. But with this, I feel like I have to like literally like really swirl and get the brush in there, and you can see there's like literally nothing, like no extra shade coming off, because like you really have to go in there and pick that up in order to get it on your eye. This is what I have on my eyes today as far as matte shades go, and the silver on the inner corner, and I can make it work. I can build it up, but it's just not as good as the other palettes. A lot of the shades are a lot more sheer, and like even like the lower lash line, like I did like a little mix of this blue and purple. I feel like it just ends up looking almost pastel, which is not what you see when you look at this palette. These do not look like pastels. Overall, I would say this is definitely my least favorite palette. Even like this black, it looks like a true black, but when you swatch it, it turns pretty much gray, especially compared to the black from Tropical Wonders. So this is the only palette where I'm like, it's just, I wouldn't really recommend it. I feel like the color scheme in here is unique, and it has a lot of like beautiful, like strong, colorful shadows while still not being all bright. Like, it has like more depth to it, but honestly I feel like it's not unique enough for the subpar quality that it's giving, so this is the palette that I would definitely pass on. Alright, so that is my quick little review of all the palettes. Now I'm going to go ahead and jump on into the comparison swatches. I'm going to go ahead and throw up a picture on screen of all of the palettes laid out next to each other just so you can visually see them all like in a row. I would hold them up for you, but I literally don't think I could hold up all 5 palettes and have them in screen and like everything just look good. And we'll jump into the swatches. Alright, so starting off with the nude shades, we have a white from Tropical Wonders and a cream from the Affinity I. Alright, now for yellows, these two right here are from the Affinity I palette, and this is Sunray from the Tropical Wonders. Alright, now for blacks, these both look like true matte blacks in the pan, but this one is from the Tropical Wonders, and this one is from the Destiny. Alright, so these first set of purples here are from the Dynasty palette. These purples are from the Affinity I. This purple is from Tropical Wonders. This purple is from Destiny, which it looks a little bit more blue in contrast to all these purples, but in the palette it looks purple. And then last but not least, this purple is in the Affinity II. I would say that this like kind of cool tone deep purple repeats in almost every single palette. There's a very similar shade. Alright, now for oranges, this first one right here is from the Dynasty palette, and it has a slight sheen to it. These two mattes right here are from the Affinity I, and this is from the Tropical Wonders. Alright, so next for browns, these set right here are from the Dynasty palette. These two are from Affinity I. This is from Tropical Wonders. And then these are all from the Destiny. Okay, next for blues, these are from the Dynasty palette. These two are from the Tropical Wonders. This next one here is from the Destiny, and then these last here are from the Affinity II. I feel like not that many repeating shades, but it seems like a lot of the palettes have like this kind of like cool tone blue type shade. Okay, next for greens, these are from the Dynasty palette. These are from the Tropical Wonders. This is from Destiny, and then all of these greens are from the Affinity II. Not a whole lot of repeats here, maybe like these two greens, but overall there's some pretty unique tones. Okay, so next we have some pinky shades. Some of these run a little bit purple, but this is from the Dynasty palette, the Affinity I, the Tropical Wonders, and the Destiny palette. I feel like between the Tropical Wonders and the Affinity I, there's definitely a little bit of repeat going on there. Alright, last but not least, here are the red shades for comparison. These are from the Dynasty, the Affinity I, Tropical Wonders, and the Destiny. So obviously some repeating shades here, a lot of like orange based reds. Alright, so those were all the comparison swatches, and I hope they were helpful for you because it was definitely very time consuming to swatch all of those, and like gonna go like lather my arm in Aquaphor after this, but I hope that that was able to help you kind of just visualize and see, because I felt like beforehand I was kind of like, how many repeating shades are there really? But I feel like even for me, just sitting and swatching them all out was very helpful. I feel like there was a few, especially between the red shades. I think there's a lot of repeating reds that are very, very similar. The cool tone purple was pretty similar. The yellows were all very different, which I appreciated. I feel like the blues were all pretty different except for that one like kind of mid-tone blue, cool tone type shade. So I feel like overall it's definitely not as repeating as it might look. There's definitely a lot of different undertones and uniqueness going on in the shades, and sometimes some of the shades, the way that they look in the pan when you swatch them or use them on your eye, they don't look exactly the same. So I think that might help with how they look on the skin as well, as far as not being the same or not being a repeating shade. So I would say, ending off this video, overall I do like the Certifeye formula. I would say I really like the mattes in most of their palettes. I wish that their shimmers were a little bit more consistent, because sometimes they are super beautiful, super creamy, metallic, and sometimes they're just kind of like that like soft sheeny shade. Personally, I would prefer if they went more metallic, more foiled, especially because a lot of their color schemes are so like bold. I feel like more foiled shades kind of go along with that, at least personally in my opinion. I would say, going away from this, my favorite palettes, the ones I recommend most if you're looking for like that perfect sunset type palette as far as mattes go, I really love the Affinity. If you're looking for a perfect blue-green palette, I really love the Affinity II, and I feel like that's more of like an all-in-one type of palette because it does have some really beautiful shimmers in there. And then I also really love Tropical Wonders. I love Dynasty too, but I would say Affinity I, Affinity II, and Tropical Wonders are my top 3. So I hope this video was helpful for y'all. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to leave them down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!